Chapter 5 and Song 5 Summary. Philosophy discusses the difference between types of knowledge. Some animals only know through sensation, like mollusks, while others know through imagination, like mobile animals. Humans know in both ways as well, but also know through reason, which is superior. God alone knows through intelligence, which is the most superior knowledge of all. Because reason is superior to sensation and imagination, it grasps more of the whole of the knowledge of something. God's knowledge is as superior to reason as reason is superior to imagination and sensation. Therefore, we must not think that God knows in the same way we do. We must yield to his superior knowledge, not assert our own. If we can ascend to the level of God's knowledge as much as we are able, we will see that there is no contradiction between it and free will. Chapter 5. Now, in the case of bodies capable of perceiving external objects, the qualities of those objects affect the instruments of the senses, and mental activity is preceded by an effect on the body that turns the mind's action upon itself and stimulates the previously dormant forms within it. However, if in these bodies, capable of perceiving external objects, the mind is not passively written upon by those objects, but of its own power assesses the impressions received by the body, how much more do beings free from all bodily sensations employ their own minds to make assessments, rather than reacting to external objects? So, on these principles, various modes of knowing belong to distinct and different substances. For creatures incapable of movement, shellfish, and other such creatures that cling to rocks and grow there, have sensation alone, devoid of all other modes of gaining knowledge. To animals capable of movement, in whom some desire to seek and to shun seems to have arisen, imagination belongs also. Reason belongs only to the human race, as intelligence belongs to divinity alone. Thus, reason must exceed the other forms of knowledge, since, by its own nature, it knows not only its proper object, but the objects of the others also. But what if sensation and imagination were to oppose reason, and declare that the universal, which reason claims to see, is nothing? For the object of sensation and imagination cannot be universal, they would contend, so that either the judgment of reason is true and the senses cannot perceive anything, or, since they know full well that many objects are presented to sensation and imagination, reason's belief is worthless, since it considers the particular object perceived by sensation to be something universal. Suppose, further, that reason counters that it does indeed contemplate the object of both sensation and imagination under the form of universality, while sensation and imagination cannot aspire to the knowledge of the universal, since their understanding cannot go beyond corporeal shapes, and that, to understand reality, we should trust the stronger and more perfect faculty of judgment. In such a dispute, would we not, who possess the ability to reason as well as to imagine and perceive, embrace the cause of reason? In the same way, human reason thinks that divine intelligence cannot see the future except in the way it obtains knowledge. For you insist, if events do not appear to involve certain and necessary outcomes, they cannot be foreseen as certainly about to happen. Therefore, no foreknowledge of such events exists. Or, if we can ever bring ourselves to believe that it does exist, there can be nothing that does not happen of necessity. If, however, we could take part in the judgment exercised by the divine mind, even as we participate in reason, we would think it perfectly just for human reason to submit itself to the divine mind, no less than we judged that imagination and sensation ought to yield to reason. Now let us soar, if we can, to the heights of that supreme intelligence, for there reason will see what it cannot look upon by itself. The way things whose occurrence is not certain can still be seen with sure and definite foreknowledge, and that this foreknowledge is not conjecture, but rather knowledge in its supreme simplicity, free from all limits and restrictions. Song 5. The Upward Look. In what varied shapes and fashions do the creatures great and small over wide earth's teeming surface skim, or dart, or walk, or crawl? Some with elongated bodies sweep the ground, and, as they move, trail behind with writhing belly in the dust a sinuous groove. Some, on light wing upward soaring, swiftly do the winds divide, and through heaven's ample spaces in free motion smoothly glide. These, earth's solid surface pressing, with firm paces onward rove, ranging through the verdant meadows, crouching in the woodland grove. Great and wondrous is their variance. Yet, in all, the head low bent dulls the soul and blunts the senses, though their forms be different. Man alone, erect, aspiring, lifts his forehead to the skies, and in upright posture, steadfast, seems earth's baseness to despise. If with earth not all be sotted, with this parable comply. You whose gaze is fixed on heaven, lifting up your face on high. Lift your soul aloft to heaven, lest it stain its heavenly worth, and your eyes alone look upward, while your mind sinks to the earth.